What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. I've got a treat for you guys. We've got PB Crunch 1372 versus Dale Help 1481. I believe that Dale Help opened up with a duality and he took Volcano. He took the Brontosaurus guy. I think it's either Volcano or Diplo. I'm not sure. It's the card that's in his hand. Regardless. Alright, so it looks like we have Evols versus Evilswarm. This is a classic matchup. This is going to be awesome. So Rabbit hits the deck, and Rabbit gets warninged. And it sucks because, well, he could Soul Charge Rabbit back, but outside of that, Rabbit is not coming back. PB opened with an Allure of Darkness, which is a card that I've never understood why more Evilswarm players don't run. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many times with Evilswarm, you get dead monsters, and it's like, why not eliminate them? So he removed Thunderbird. During the end phase, Blind Crunch gets hit with an MST, so it's Diplo. He hit the Solemn Warning, so at this point he can just kind of go in. He attacks with Diplo for 16 and Serato for 19. So that's a ton of damage right there. 35. Looks like he's going to go for an Exceed. I would imagine that Exceed is going to be Laggia. Because Lagia, I mean, anything outside of a counter trap, Lagia can handle. Lagia hits the board safely. And against Evilswarm, I don't historically know that deck to play Blackhorn. I haven't in the main deck, so I wouldn't actually expect it. You see an Upstart Goblin is played. I think that Dell is obviously going to take the 1,000 life points, considering he just paid 2,000. Why not get your life points? So Magnagora is going to be special summoned in defense mode. Dell says, no problem. You can do that. After all, that card is not that much of a threat to me. And then what? We see a Heliotrope get normal summoned. It depends. He might want to think about negating that. You know, well, no, I guess he can just wait for the Exceed. You know what I mean? It's just, the reason I say you might want to negate that is because, well, no, if your opponent has breakthrough skill, it's all the same anyway. They can go to an Exceed and then they can use breakthrough skill when you're trying to negate. So I guess it really doesn't matter. Yeah, I would just go ahead and let those two ride and wait for you to use to go for the Exceed. Okay. We see an attack by PB Crunch. Maybe he's gonna use Book of Moon. Alright, he uses Lance, so that kind of forces the negation. And he negates. Although PB Crunch loses his Heliotrope, so I'm really not sure what the plan was there. Maybe he didn't have a plan. Okay, what? I'm not sure that he really had a plan. So anyways, he loses 2 cards. And then he loses Magnagora from an attack from Lagia, and you see Dell just set one. Now, ideally that would be Westlow, but I mean, come on, that's like having the perfect card at the perfect time. PB Crunch, he plays Thunderbird. Thunderbird won't get over Westlow, if that is Westlow. Okay, he plays Kage. That's cool. And he might think about going for an Exceed summon. Just go. Okay, Torrential Tribute is played. And I guess he's going to clear him out. Maybe he didn't want to lose everything to Exciton Knight. Although, yeah, I guess he could just chain Thunderbird and Dale would take an egg. Yeah, he does, and that was Westlow too. Huh. So now I guess it was Dale that made the mistake. I guess maybe you should have just waited for him to use Exciton Knight, because then you could have torrentialed and you both just would have lost everything, but you still would have had 2 cards and your opponent would have had nothing. So this duel is actually fairly even right now. Both players have 3 cards to their name. PB Crunch attacks with Thunderbird, and Najasho says nope, because it still has that 2,000 defense. So it doesn't really care if Thunderbird is 1950. It's still not getting through that. Now the perfect counter or the perfect draw here would be Enemy Controller. That would just be really, really good. And Dell's going to set another card. I mean, if he's really ripping the Joshos and Westlows like that, then more power to him. PB Crunch is looking in his graveyard. He's going to attack the face down monster. And that was a volcano, so I guess he tried to bluff, but that was a bad bluff. There's no reason why Thunderbird shouldn't keep attacking face down monsters. And I guess Dale's just going to keep on setting them. At this point, Dale actually has advantage in a very strange duel. This is a very, very strange duel. PB Crunch is going to attack again. And this time he hits Westlow. Now, here's the thing. He could go... Actually, I don't think this is that hard. I don't think that you get Diplo and try and pop a back row, because then Diplo would die. I think you get Volcano. Volcano will get one of your guys from the graveyard, and then you just try and go for an XC. I think that makes the most sense. If your XC dies, you still got Najasho to just chill on field and say, ha. Wait a minute, does it trigger? When this card is special summoned by... Wait, but I think this guy... I think their effects are negated. When this is special summoned... Huh. So, yeah, Diplo should totally trigger, right? It just says, when this card is special summoned by the effect of an evil tile monster, you can target one evil in your graveyard. Special summon. It cannot declare an attack. This was summoned by... Oh, sorry. This was special summoned by an Evilswarm. My bad. Diplo has to be summoned by an Evilswarm. It's not exactly like Glad Beast. It's almost like Glad Beast. Okay, so... PB Crunch sets another card in his back row, and Dale is going to exceed. Lagia would be good here because Lagia would probably be able to attack over Thunderbird and eat up one of these cards in the process. Exciton Knight clears the whole board out, so those are the two options I would think of. Okay, so Lagia hits the board, and looks like he just passed turn. I guess he's not in a rush to try and attack yet. Maybe he knows that if he attacks, he'll immediately have to use one of immediately have to use the Lagia negation on one of these back rows, and I guess he figures I can wait to draw something. You know, I don't have to attack into a Mirror Force or a D Prison early. I can just wait, see if I can get, you know, Soul Charge or something like that, something more powerful, so that I can dump multiple Lagias on board. Alright, and PD says I'm just going to keep on setting my back row. Pot of Duality is activated from Dell. I believe that's Evil Diversity, right? Bottomless and Forbidden Lance. Lance looks good. And he takes Lance. Bottomless goes back to the deck. Yeah, that was Evil Diversity, which is basically like Rhoda for Evilswarms or Evil Tiles. And it looks like he's going to activate that. And he gets himself a Westlow. Oh, that might be what his plan is. He might just set Westlow and then get another Volcano off of the Westlow, and then he can just keep on trucking. So anyways, PB says, I'm going to blind MST. Well, it's not a blind MST if you get a card that was just set. He hits Forbidden Lance. Dell does not negate that. He clearly is trying to get Dolkka / double Lagia on board before he tries to go on the offensive. Have no idea what this card is. I don't even know if I want to take a guess. Could be... No, he just had Bottomless from the Duality, so it's not Bottomless. Trying to think of what other decent traps there are. Could be Evac Device. Could be Dimensional Prison. As far as PB Crunch, he's got 5 unknown cards, and obviously Thunderbird. And we have no idea what any of them are. 3 of them are Speller Traps, so I would imagine maybe 1 Pandemic Virus, and then the other are just, who knows, maybe 1 monster. But what that monster is, I couldn't even guess. So he's going to attack into the face down, which I would guess is Westlow. Sure enough, it is Westlow. Westlow flips. Westlow triggers. I think he's going to grab a Volcano and activate its effect. He does. Gets Volcano in defense mode so that his opponent can't 101 it. Volcano is going to trigger. And he could get back that Serato, right? Okay, he gets back another Volcano. So, man, he's got 3 volcanoes on board. And you would think that if you're PB Crunch, like, you just want to, like, Dark Hole everything, but looks like he doesn't have a Dark Hole, and he just passed his turn. And this is bad, because if Del gets 2 Lagias on board, he will start getting aggressive. And he's going to go for an Xyz. I mean, it's very difficult to get 2 Lagias on board, but when you have 2 on board, shit, it's hard to lose. It really is, because you got 2,400 beaters on board. You can negate two things. I mean, you got 2 Solemn Judgments, a card so strong they banned it. So, and that's what he does. He brings out the 3rd and last Lagia, and now you're almost certainly going to see him start attacking. I mean, actually, he hasn't even used his normal summon yet either. So he attacks. And... ooh, okay. Well, Thunderbird dies. And he eats 450. He's not going to attack with the 2nd Lagia. I guess he doesn't want to have to burn one of those negates already. I think he wants to... okay, well, PB just scoops. I think that he was trying to use his negates on monster summons and not on back row. You know what I mean? That makes sense. You know what I mean? Because it's really difficult when you're losing your monsters to your opponent's monsters to win, because you can fight through back row, but you know, fighting through monsters, that can be a pain in the ass. All right, so this is a duel between old school, pretty much Xyz based decks. The problem that PB is going to have is, well, actually, no. I was thinking his pandemic viruses look like they should be good in this matchup, but then if your opponent uses Lance during the damage step, you can't use pandemic virus during the damage step, so I guess he'd have to like prematurely use it. So I'm not sure how effective it's going to be. Just in general, Ophion doesn't stop Del from doing what he wants to do, so I would say that this advantage has to go to Del. So PB opens up with 2 back row and a Thunderbird. I expect the first Speller Trap that Del plays, I'd just go ahead and play my Thunderbird effect now. Why not? Especially if your opponent has any aspirations of getting Westlow. You want to be able to run over Westlow. So he's going to take Westlow. And the fact that PB didn't activate Thunderbird is bad, because now all he has to do is just set Westlow and chill. Like, he might not get another chance to use Thunderbird's effect. Thus, he would not be able to run over Westlow. Although, I guess he's going to play Evil. I guess he's taking Evil Diversity and he's going to activate it. He takes Najasho, which I guess it doesn't really matter now because Thunderbird can't run over Najasho. I was thinking if he was going to take Westlow, he could just set it and then Thunderbird wouldn't be able to run it over. But he takes Najasho. And during the end phase, he's going to activate Infestation, Infection. Okay, he's going to tag out Heliotrope. He still has not activated Thunderbird's effect. I question that. He's had 3 chances now. He could have did it on the Duality, he could have did it on the Diversity, and he could have done it on the Infection. Now, what exactly is he going to take? I think he might actually get another Thunderbird. Okay, so he gets Kirkion. And the reason I said he should get maybe another Thunderbird, because he could have triggered this one, right? And then you could summon the second Thunderbird, and you can attack with both of them, and they kind of float, and at any given time, you can tag it out with Infestation, and then you can trigger the Thunderbird off of the Infestation. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's pretty good. Alright, so he's going to attack. He successfully attacks for 1650. And now he's just going to set some cards. Play goes back to Del, who is holding under Josho. He's not setting it. He plays MST on a back row. And he changed it. Okay, so he changed it on his Thunderbird. So now Thunderbird can't be affected by Lance and stuff like that. But it doesn't really matter because Del just says, oh, okay. He activated, well, he set into Josho. Then he played Evil Force. And he uses Solemn Warning on the Evil Force. And Najasho's still going to trigger because Najasho, Evil Force is a cost, so Najasho's still going to trigger. And I would go for, well, damn, I was thinking you'd go for Soroto, but if you try and attack this, he'll just tag it out for Infestation Infection, so I don't know about that. Well, he goes for Soroto regardless. And yeah, his attack should be high as hell. He's 2100 right now. Now, I know if he beats over, he searches. So, if you're PD, you cannot let him beat. Ooh, in the damage step, he activates a Lance. How unexpected. And Dell loses his Soroto, and maybe that's why he hasn't been using his Thunderbird effect. Now, maybe he should have saved that MST for Infection, as he could have gotten a +1 potentially when he tries to tag out. So, Dell just passed his turn, and this is looking like a Holy Lance war, seriously. Lance is on both player sides. PB is playing extremely conservative here. He's just attacking for, actually, it's just 1650. It's not 1950. He never actually used its effect. You see him play Evil Diversity. I imagine he's going to get another Najasho. That's exactly what he does, and he'll probably just set it. Okay, so he finally activates Thunderbird's effect. And then he tributes it for Evil Force. Now this time it looks like he'll be able to get 2. So he's going to get Diplo and I imagine Volcano. Okay, so Diplo is Chain Link 2. Najasho is Chain Link 1. So Diplo triggers, comes out, he pops something. And then, I guess the second Diplo's coming out and it's going to pop the face down. Ooh, shice. That is just terrible draws. I'm not quite sure you need to play 2 Infection considering you're searchable. He attacks for 3200. And then I imagine that he's going to summon, I really think he's going to summon a Lagia here. I mean, there's a small chance he could go Dolkka, but usually people don't go Dolkka unless they have Lance. Dolkka plus Lance is fucking strong, man. I tell you what. Like, that is a strong combo. You got Dolkka plus a couple of back row and a Lance. That shit is stronger than Lagia. Because it's just like whatever your opponent does, negate, you just crush them, man. I remember when I topped that regional with Dino Rabbit, I was playing windups and Insector. I never lost to Insector in 2 regionals. I played 7 of them. I beat every single one of them. They could not, that deck could not beat Dolkka. You summon Dolkka and Insector was just like, oh my god, we don't know what to do. It's just like, you damn right. Dolkka is too strong, motherfucker. So anyways, PB Crunch, he gets his Thunderbird back. What can he do? I don't know. He misplayed. He overinvested his field. Like, why would you play another Infection if you already had an active one? It didn't make sense to me. Okay, so Dell's gonna summon Blaster? That's exactly what he does. He banishes 2 Evilswarms for Blaster, which actually makes sense because the entire archetype is fire, plus Lagia is fire too. Dolkka is, I think Dolkka's fire also. So yeah, even if your Xyzs are fire, then why not? He activates Forbidden Dress, and that goes down. He negates it. And that's game because you can tag this out or you can not tag it out. Either way, the attack from Blaster is pretty much all that needs to go through for win. Thank you guys for watching, as always.